Hello, everybody. This is Phil, and I'm doing a video on the Second Amendment because I've studied this stuff before, and it's uh, some of the terminology is lost in our minds when we're raised with a certain amount of education, and then as we have dialogue and we speak with other people, some of the terminology is accepted as known, but then we lose some of the specificity of what an actual word means and what an actual statement might mean. So I was going through YouTube like I usually do, and I review a lot of videos that are very interesting and, of like-minded people and some people that just don't get it right. And it's far and few in between where I don't agree with someone or their argument, okay, their discussion doesn't persuade people, okay? And there's a lot of gun channels out there. There's a lot of pro Second Amendment people out there that are doing the good fight for most of us other people that are really busy and don't know everything that's going on. Okay, I pay attention to the news daily, and I watch at least realistically about 7 news sources a day that dissects one or two or three main issues that are reported exclusively in the mainstream media, because that's the flavor of the day they do for ratings. So I enjoy basically researching whatever the topic is on YouTube. And lately in the news, it's been the attack on the Second Amendment, raising the age to own a rifle to 21, eliminating bump stocks and rate of fire, gadgets and items, and what else? Arming our teachers so our teachers can have the authority to protect our children. Personally, I think the teachers already had the natural authority to protect anybody, just like any armed citizen would, especially our children. Okay. When it comes down to brass taxes with teachers being armed, they will always use the argument that a teacher with a gun could freak out and hurt my child. So I don't want a teacher that's armed in my son's or daughter's classroom. When really, if my son was injured in a crossfire by the teacher, and it wasn't a psychological break that the teacher had, I would not, honestly, I would not hold them liable. I would hold the perpetrator liable. And I would say, well, you did the best you can. I'm sorry things happened the way they did. Thank you, for saving all the other children. That's what a realistic God-fearing parent would feel. Of course, with the loss also. But you have to blame the evil, not the person combating the evil. Okay? And as well, even those evil people, we have to try to forgive the best we can as time goes along, perhaps after grieving, perhaps after their justice is meted out in the court system. Okay. So anyways, I saw a lot of people this past week talking about the Second Amendment. And I know I've read the Second Amendment a million times, but perhaps I didn't, memorize it verbatim. So I just wanted to do a quick video about that and how it relates to everybody's conversation. Okay. Because you have a lot of judicial scholars that will always tell you something different than the original meaning of what an amendment meant and what the words meant in that amendment. So I'm going to read the Second Amendment for a lot of the children out there, a lot of the kids that are young adults. Please pay attention. Please. Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma, shall not be infringed. Okay. I can dissect this whole amendment, and I'm going to right now, but I'm not going to go through the definition of every word stated in this amendment. but let me read it one more time for you. Okay. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay. Courts have argued with, or, debated, what does a well-regulated militia means? Basically, militia means in Latin, miles, or milit is what it means, miles. And it basically refers to military service, because the people recruited for centuries and millenniums were recruited to fight wars, and they had to walk miles to the battleground. They were recruited in one location, and then they walked miles as a military to another location to fight those battles, hence the militia. So you notice how the militia, as a definition, does not state what type of people could be in the military. That could be children, that could be women, that could be men. That can be adults also. Okay. Necessary to the security of a free state. The Second Amendment was written in 1789. What did they have to deal with? Enemies, foreign and domestic. You had tribal Indians that would slaughter white people just as much as white people would slaughter Indians. And you also had the French to the north, the English at some outposts to the north, and the French and the Spanish to the south. Okay, so they needed the Second Amendment to arm up every citizen as a militia. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. That's a statement. Okay. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. The people is where it defines the militia. That means the citizen has equal to or as much control over what weapons they want as any military professional force, including against their enemy. So the fastest rate of handgun or rifle, the people, a regular citizen can use to protect himself and the state, so the state stays free, can have the same weapons, the same rate of fire, the same everything. I don't care about explosives per se as, whether it's a right or moral issue, but I think it's best left in the hands of the professional for explosives. But in terms of handguns, I believe even U.S. citizens should be able to own an M60 machine gun, a squad automatic weapon machine gun, a fully automatic machine gun. Okay? Right of the people to keep and bear arms. That says it all. Okay? Then after that, the last of this sentence, shall not be infringed, states it all. That the government, nobody else, should or would come in and tell that citizen force what they can carry and what they can't carry. Meaning it's not open for future discussion. It's not open for a future judge to judge me and incarcerate me based on a state's illegal law. Okay? Try to figure that out. Read the Constitution. When I say read the Constitution, break it down. Study the words. If you have to, look up the words. See what it means back then. And you'll get a very good picture that the judges nowadays and these liberal communists that want you dead, they want your family dead, period. Remember that. They're making up the law as they're going along, and they keep on making these little ordinances here and there to deprive you, of your rights to carry and bear arms. Okay? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. That's by any citizen taking away your gun rights, any federale taking away your gun rights, any court taking away your gun rights and incarcerating you, and then making you a criminal with no rights. So you can't oppose them anymore, can you? That's where it stands. Okay? Second Amendment was made in 1789, and guess what else was made in 1789? The Judiciary Act of 1789 written in law September 24th, the first Supreme Court. Okay? They were worried about other things, not the citizens rising up with a bunch of crazy assault weapons, which is a misnomer. A semi-automatic rifle is not an assault weapon. Let's get that out of the lexicon and let's start correcting these liberal communists, these Democrat communists. Okay, they're rifles that are semi-automatic. Anyways, the Judiciary Act was basically for the Supreme Court to study maritime law, study federal policy, and basically mediate between Congress and the president. Not the people. They were supposed to enforce the law for people and keep the government honest against the people. So look what has happened since then. A bunch of liberals have been put in the Supreme Court and started okaying, eroding our rights a little bit at a time with all these state ordinances. Call your congressman, call your local delegate, and demand Second Amendment adherence. Demand no law shall be infringing on my rights to carry what I want to protect me and my free state and my community and my United States. Okay? Read the Second Amendment and study it. Then you call up your representative, whoever he is, a delegate, representative, senator, and the President of the United States, and demand they protect your rights, or we have a right to carry whatever we want, break all the laws, and what's next? Revolution. Hopefully it's peaceful revolution. But these people are playing with our Bill of Rights, and they keep on eroding it step by step, and thinking, well, as long as they got a semi-automatic handgun, a handgun as opposed to a faster shooting rifle, they'll be okay. Okay, because we'll make that determination who, especially our military, carries these automatic weapons that are weapons of war. Well, you know what? If they're weapons of war, every citizen that wants to be trained with them should have the right to be trained in them free. Period. Look up the laws, guys, and then call your representatives and not only voice your complaint, but explain to them the law. And this last part, shall not be infringed. What part of that don't they understand? What part of shall not be infringed don't they get? We're not standing up for it anymore. You got to make your voice heard. Then you have to be seen. And I don't mean violence, but I mean showing your handgun in public legally while you're protesting so they get the idea. We don't want war. We don't want pain and suffering on our fellow citizens. But we got to start holding people accountable. Thank you, guys. I hope this video helped. Please give me a like. I don't care if you give me a like or not, really. But spread this around so people start looking at the actual history and why things are written in the Constitution and why us law-abiding citizens know the Constitution, but these Democrat communists don't. These children that are telling us what to do don't. These 17, 18, and 19-year-old frauds. They were never trained the Constitution like we were. It's about time they start. Thank you.